Welcome, 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 all amazing people. I'm truly, truly grateful to you all that you took your time out for this 30-minute session from your busy lives to be here and give me a chance to express and to share what I understand of today's topic. And you all had the choice, the chance to be somewhere else at this moment, but you choose to be here. So I'm truly, truly thankful to you all and grateful to you all. And with your permission now, I would like to give you all a brief introduction of mine. I am Meenu Yadav. I have around 12 years of corporate work experience. I'm currently working in Accenture, and now I'm on the journey of becoming a coach, a digital coach who wants to share her journey and make understand people the importance of self-love in their own lives. So without further ado, let's begin today's session. Today's session is on the topic of self-love versus selfishness. So what is self-love? What is the one word which comes to your mind when you think about self-love? Is it care, selfishness, ego, or now a new word has also cropped into the market as narcissism? Type in which word comes into your mind when you talk about self-love. So I'll be referring to my notes, but I'll not be sharing the screen today. But I'll be referring to my notes for sharing my understanding and knowledge with you all. So self-love basically is something which is a state of appreciation of oneself. Basically, you feel good when you self-love yourself. Or you talk about self-love, you have good positive vibes around you and you feel healthy. You are in a good mental state, physical state, and emotional state. So you don't feel empty inside because you give importance to your own self while maintaining your family relationships, your professional relationships, your work, everything around you. Self-love is not in any way tells you to leave all these things. When anyone who practices self-love, they are more of giving. They are more in love with themselves as well as people around them. So when a people loves themselves, when we give love to ourselves, we give more love, more of those things which we do for ourselves in abundance to others too, in abundance to people around us. This is what self-love is. It nowheres tell you to cut off from others, to be in silo, to become a solo person. No, it doesn't tell you that. It tells you that once you give what you want to give to others, you will be able to give it more to them. Once you love yourself, you love others too. Once you set boundaries for yourself, what is right, what is wrong for you, then you do the same with others too. And that is what is important for practicing self-love. When I started my journey, I also had this question, and I'm sure a lot of us would have this question, that why do we need self-love? Why do we need to love ourselves? And the kind of society we grew up in, this question is quite natural because we do not had anyone in front of ourselves who loved themselves first and then taught us also that why this is important. So self-love is not being egoistic. We when we don't follow self-love or when we don't practice self-love, what ideally or what usually we do is we usually neglect our own feelings. We usually neglect our own time and importance of it. And in the process of it, we sometimes self-sabotage our own decisions and give preference to others in our own lives. Sometimes we give more preference to others' priority, interest, or their well-being rather than ours, even if we do not want to do that work. Say, for example, we may say yes to somebody who is either elder or who is related to us in some way, and we would do that work which they asked us to do, but we do not wanted to do it. We did it out of the respect, out of the relationship which existed there, but we didn't wanted to do it. So this is the difference, or this is the boundary which we have to create for our own self when we do not want to do it out of our own choice, but at the same time not putting the relationship or the camaraderie at stake. When we say that you should know how to say no to other people, that doesn't mean that in every situation you say no. And I'll just welcome Dr. Shashi, who has just joined. Hi, Shashi. Good evening.
Hi, Meenu. Good evening. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Same here. So I started this session and for your better understanding, and I'll just purpose it for within 2 minutes, that what is self-love? Self-love is basically a state of appreciation for our own self. We love ourselves so that we can give more love to others, more compassion to others. And when we practice self-love, we nowhere mention or nowhere intent that we are keeping our families or our work aside when we practice self-love, because we are practicing self-love, not egoism or narcissism. There are different connotations which are attached to self-love. And the point which I was discussing right now is that there is a question which always comes into our minds, that why do we need to practice self-love, or what is the need to love ourselves? I would like to know your opinion, what you think, that why do we need to self-love? Would you be able to share, or would you be able to type in chat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. If you can hear me clearly.
Yes, I can.
Okay. So definitely self-love and self-love is something which I have to take care. Like how I take care or think about caring for others, I should also think about caring for myself, which, in some part of time after becoming a mother and, gaining responsibilities of family, it becomes like somewhere gets cornered. So for me, I think self-love is something I should start thinking to care about myself and start caring about myself and do everything that I like if I was a child. So I think that is self-love for me.
That's great. Good thoughts. And yes, because I hear the word start caring, I would help you or maybe guide you with this session. Maybe you get something to pick up and start doing it, because that you understand very well that it is of priority in our own lives. And by doing this, we are now nowhere ignoring our own families or people around us. That's the key fact or the key purpose of understanding the difference between the today's topic, which is self-love and selfishness. We are not selfish. We are not cornering our work, our priorities, anything, but we are just prioritizing our own self by practicing it. So to move ahead, just to share that what are the benefits of self-love. So there are multiple benefits of practicing self-love, and they affect you, they impact you in multiple ways, be it your mental health, your physical health, your workplace, all these things get impacted with self-love. Sharing one example, if you love yourself, then you are happy inside. Your happy hormones gets boosted. Welcome, Loga. Great to have you here. Great to have you here. So I was just sharing about the benefits of self-love, and the self-love can impact you or can benefit you in multiple ways, be it your mental health, physical health, your emotional health. And this basically increases your confidence, improve your mental health, your workplace work also gets benefited and gets more better if you love yourself, because you know that how to set your priorities, how to be more available or present in the moment, and you get your things done in a better structured way. So because you just joined, I would like to know from both of you that how or what is the first word which comes to your mind when you think of the self-love?
Me.
Me. Great.
Like self-love, like we need to understand ourselves. So when we love ourselves, everything will fall in place.
Great. So
When we
Himita,
don't love ourselves, we don't understand our strengths.
that's true. And what is one word, Shashi, which comes to your mind when you think of self-love?
For me, it is giving some relaxing time. It's okay to just be relaxed. That is, I think, self-love for me. Or is it self-care if I'm mixing it up?
Actually, self-love is also part of self-care, or you can say self-care is part of self-love, because they're all overlapping each other at some point. Though
Yeah.
the meanings of these two words would be a little different, but at some point they would overlap, because when you self-love, you always care for yourself. So yes. And now I would like Himaja also. Welcome, Himaja. Thank you for being here. I know that you all must have or could have been at some other place, but you chose to be here. So I'm grateful to you all. And Himaja, what is one word which comes to your mind when you think of self-love?
Hi, Minu. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Nice meeting you all. Yeah. When it comes, sorry, I can't, come on to the video, Minu.
That's okay.
Okay. Coming to self-love, it's like unconditionally accepting ourselves is what self-love to me.
Great. Very rightly said. And yes, unconditionally accepting our own self gives you a lot of power, a lot of understanding that how you can love yourself as well as spread that love across and around to be your people who are around you, to your family members, to your peers in your organization. So yes, that's very truly said. I was on the topic of the benefits of self-love. So the self-love also gives you the positive attitude. It gives you the understanding that when you nourish yourself, you then can spread that nourishment, your empowerment, your healthy mind state to the people who are around you. It also helps you to recognize your own strengths, your own weaknesses, where you have to stop and say no to the other person. As I was sharing earlier, that when we say that we have to learn to say no to others, we are nowhere saying that we have to say no to everyone in every situation. No. But you have to understand this line of differentiation, when to and when not to say no. You say no when that is something which you do not want to do, you do not have, or you do not have the capacity to do it. We can take an example of a family setup where you are say working since morning, and in the evening somebody comes up and asks you to prepare something which takes say around half an hour or a 30-minute or on an hour's time, but due to your condition at that moment, you're not able to prepare that dish. When at that point in time you say no, that I can't do it, it's not selfishness. It is self-love. Because you yourself are not in that state or condition that you can get up and prepare that dish. Sometimes you do it out of love, out of responsibility, out of courtesy. But if that's a routine, that's a regular thing, then you have to understand where to say no, where to stop that pattern and break it and find time for yourself. And finding time is not something which is like you have to segregate 2 to 3 hours of window for your self-love time. It depends how you choose it. It could be just 5 minutes of your time early in the morning or whenever you are free to give yourself those 5 to 10 minutes to begin with, and maybe enjoy your favorite thing, do a meditation, anything which gives you your space, your time, where nobody is barging in and asking you to do something. People around knows your boundaries, your time. They respect your time. So moving on to the next topic, before moving on, I would like to ask one more question, and I'm simultaneously referring to my notes because I'm not sharing them today. So the next question which I want to ask you all, welcome Kalyani, thank you so much for joining in, is that do you think that society often confuses self-love and selfishness? What is your take on that? Are they understanding or are they confused about these topics? Maybe you can answer in chat, or if you want to unmute yourself, you can. The question, Shashi, is that do you think that society often confuses self-love with selfishness? They think that if people who practice self-love, they are selfish. Okay. Shashi says that yes, absolutely, they think that way. Kalyani also agrees to it. So yes, people, Himaja also agrees to that. People do confuse, or the society in general confuses self-love with selfishness because they lack the understanding, or yes, that's true, Shashi, that expectations and rules are set for women. That's true. And when we, especially women, start self-love, but I do not want to here to generalize that women, usually men also don't do that. And when they start acknowledging and practicing it, they also face some kind of differentiation from the family or the society in general. So society in general, yes, thinks that self-love is selfishness because at that point in time, we are giving priority to our own self. And at some time in a day, because this has to be a practice, and I'm taking off an everyday example, that every day you take some time out of your daily routine to give to yourself. And when somebody needs you at that moment and you don't give that time to them, they think that you are selfish. And that is plainly the lack of knowledge and understanding of it. We are not here to blame them or to ask them to change. No, that is fine. That is their thought process. But because we are on this journey, we do not want to go back to that old state of ours. And we want to enhance and develop our own state of mind to that level where we know that it is okay that if we have not given those 10 minutes to them, because those were ours. We have kept those 10 minutes for our own self during the day. whatever it may come in those 10 minutes, those 10 minutes are mine. That is the boundary line, or that is the importance which we should give to our me time, I can say. And how much long it would be, that completely and solely depend on an individual who is practicing it. So I'll just read the chat. Do's or don'ts. Yeah. To an extent, I agree, Shashi, that do's and don'ts are set for women. But somehow these days I'm a little bit inclined on understanding the other side also. If not the society, maybe wives or maybe other people want share those do's and don'ts with the men or guys of these time. They do it or don't do it is absolutely different topic, but somebody tells them. So that's my understanding and that's my take on it, because I'm kind of understanding both sides these days, still on that journey, still on the as in understanding both sides of the gender specific scenarios which we see currently. So that's my take on it. And because of the scarcity of time right now, because it was a 30-minute session, I would like to give you few simple and practical tips of practicing self-love. Before that, in summary, I would just wrap up that what is the core difference between self-love and selfishness. So selfishness, basically by definition, is an act of taking from others, using them, and at some times abusing others at the cost of their well-being. That is selfishness. But self-love, on the other hand, is about setting your own boundaries, giving your personal needs some importance in your life, your time, and more importantly, craving out that time from your day, which is suitable to you, to give to yourself. There, you know that what others have to follow. As in, no one can breach that boundary and come to your me time during that 5 minute, 10 minute, 15 minute, whatever you have set aside for yourself. So this is the key demarcation which you can keep in mind when somebody tells you, okay, you are selfish because you are not giving me this 10 minutes or 15 minutes of time, or you're not cooking this particular thing for me. Or if I talk about a workplace, you're not doing this assignment now, you're selfish. You are not a very dedicated worker or XYZ. Let them think what they want to think, because their thinking is not something which is going to affect us. Our own mind, our own thoughts, our own self-talk is something which is going to affect us. When we talk positively with our own self, that has a higher, that's true, Shashi. Setting boundaries, giving personal time is something very, very important for self-love. And this was a shorter version of the session which I have taken. I obviously would be taking a longer session depending on the feedback I will get. So while I was doing the summary of it, so self-love basically can be practiced in very, very simple ways. You can engage in some personal hobby which you like to have, maybe a drawing or a painting, or going out for a walk, could be anything. One simple hack. And you can start small. No one is saying you to plan 10 activities for yourself and then do maybe not even one. So start small, pick up one habit, one which is relatable to you. Or maybe you can start with your gratitude journal and always, as in every day. If you like writing, you can every day write gratitude in your journal. And those could be multiple ways. Today, because of technology, we can write down on a piece of paper, on your laptop, maybe an audio note, or create a blog for our own self where we can just write whom we are grateful to or we are pay gratitude to. And this could be one thing which you can begin to practice self-love. Or you can start celebrating your own achievements of the day, of the week, of the month, and then of a year. Your every day, you're doing something which is an achievement. So the example which I gave earlier, that somebody came to you and asked you to prepare a meal. You didn't want it to. Either you said no, or you did it out of your own choice or love or respect, any reason for it. That is an achievement. You woke up in the morning to prepare everything, breakfast, getting children ready, you yourself getting ready for your work. You were not in good health. Even then you did it. That's an achievement. So start acknowledging your own achievements every day. That is also self-love. You start doing solo activities. Solo as in where you are with your own self. It's very, very difficult to practice this because we usually are not in a habit these days, thanks to technology and our mobile phones, that we are either hooked to it or we are doing our chores. Very little we take time out for our own self and be with our own self just for 5 minutes. I'm not talking about a longer duration, just for 5 minutes. Staying with your own self for 5 minutes where only and only your companion is your own thoughts. So there are different activities which you can do, which I can copy and paste from my notes. You have to start saying no to people where you do not want to do it, or where you think that it is not right for you to do it. Then you can say no to people. The most important one, which I have missed, I'll reiterate it now, is that limit your exposure to toxic people, because those are the ones which disrupt your journey basically and make it more difficult to practice self-love. So limit your journey to the toxic people. If not, then on the vice versa, on the other side of it, create an environment, a positive environment. Stay in that environment more and stay in that environment of toxic people less. That is something which is in our hands. I believe, I know it is difficult for some people, but with practice and with own acknowledgement, they can start practicing it. Once they acknowledge, they can start practicing it. So I'm sharing few in the chat that what could be the options of start practicing the self-love. I can read it out for the audience who would be listening to this session later. These are, I've written down around 15, which is learn to say no, limit your exposure to toxic people. The third is regular exercise, which also impacts you in a lot more positive way. The fourth is your daily meditation. Fifth is self-talk, a positive self-talk to yourself. And sixth is self-compassion. Give that love and compassion to yourself too, because you anyway is giving to your people around you. And when you give it to yourself, you can give it in much more abundance to your people. Seventh is engage in your hobbies, then set your personal goals. Eighth is gratitude journal, and then be in the support groups who follow the same, who basically are set up on the same values which you have. So if you love to be in that or are in that phase, then be part of those support groups where you feel people like-minded people. Then you can practice forgiveness for your own self as well as to other people around you. Solo activities, celebrate your achievements, reward yourself. That is important. After some time, reward yourself, maybe with a chocolate or a golgappa, anything which you like, or even maybe you can paint your nails, anything which gives you happiness. Small little things you can reward yourself. Then create a supportive environment. If you can create that supportive environment around you, your journey would be much faster and much deeper. That's what I wanted to share today. And I would like to take the feedback from all of you who are present here, that how it went and what would be the one takeaway you all are taking with you from today's session. I know Shashi has written it in chat, that very thoughtful. And if you can unmute yourself, that would be great, because it's on recording and chats doesn't come on recording. Yes, Hemaja, go for it.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful recap of all self-love activities, Meenu. So, yeah, I could relate to each and every point you mentioned, right? All the self-love activities. So, it is a really lovely session.
Thank you so much,
Thanks for
Hemaja.
this beautiful session.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Kalyani says, beautiful explanation about self-love, very simple and elegant. And I'm reading all of it because, as I said, that it would be part of the recording later. So as it is about time, it's already 7:37. We are a little over the time. I thank you, all of you who joined today and gave me your time to be here and listen to me for sharing these understanding of the concept today. And I'm truly grateful to you all. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Have a great evening ahead. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.